Glastonbury is full of a bunch of insufferable white leftists. Yes. A bunch of insufferable champagne socialists. But he didn't actually really say that, and the Labour message has been pretty clear. Guys, it's a hate fest, because at one performance, one artist chanted for the death of a military organization. Guys, groundbreaking news. White people like black people music. Huge things happening. Huge new developments. Oh my god. So what are people upset about with Bob Vylan exactly? So, at Glastonbury, Bob Vylan and Kneecap were invited to perform. Now, there'd been a lot of outcry about Kneecap performing, obviously, because recently, they, at Coachella, flashed up some pro-Palestine stuff, some anti-Israel stuff. I believe said, up Hamas, up Hezbollah, obviously drawing on the up the RA Irish slogan. Which is like, it is kind of expressing support, but it's also like, there is a bit of a contextual argument there, but I'm not gonna, you know, it is expressing support, really. However, I believe the UK law is actually quite specific that it's expressing support in a way that may entice people to join. Also, they have flown a Hezbollah flag at a gig. Mo Farah flew a Hezbollah flag at a gig. So they were being charged, well, investigated, charged on a terrorism offense for that. So they're scheduled to have hearings for that, and they're invited to Glastonbury. Keir Starmer, among other politicians, came out and said it wouldn't be appropriate for them to perform at Glastonbury, and were rallying against that. I think there was a letter came out to try and oppose it and everything as well. A bunch of people signed. But they were invited nonetheless. Glastonbury stood by them, invited them. But I don't believe they were being live streamed. I think they weren't trusted to be live streamed or something. I can't quite remember. There was something happened. I don't think they were quite trusted fully. I don't know all the details here. I'm going to be real. I'm kind of filling it in. The details aren't as important as the things they said. So, at Kneecap's performance, one of them made the very intelligent decision to say that at their friend's court date, at Mo Farah's court date, they would have people show up and start a riot. He said, start a riot, specifically said the words, start a riot, and gave the date of the court appearance and the location, which was very unintelligent. Honestly, on that one, I would not be, if he got convicted on something for that specifically, I would not be too cut up about that. I think that is incitement. You can't really do that. He walked it back after the next song, so he said that. They played another song, and then the next song, he comes back and he's like, guys, full banter. No, he didn't say that, but he does go, he says, basically, no riots, guys. I know I said riot before. I don't mean riot. I mean just show up and show your love and support. Your love and support for Mo Farah and your love and support for Palestine. This is actually what he said. This is what he genuinely did. He came back after the next song and was like, I walked that back. I'm sorry, guys. So, like, yeah, you can't, I don't know if you can really do that. If something happens, obviously him, you know, taking some heat for that, I would not be surprised, would not blame anyone for that. Truly, I backed, like, basically all of Kneecap's free speech, like, you know, flying the Hezbollah flag, totally back that. But when you're saying specific date, specific time, specific location, show up and start a riot, it's kind of difficult to defend that one. That under any sort of, like, principle of free speech, you still kind of have to not be okay with people doing that. It crosses an obvious line. Now, Bob Vylan, on the other hand, are totally innocent, from my perspective. Bob Vylan showed up at Glastonbury, and they joked around a bit. They were like, oh, we're not going to say anything crazy. We're on the BBC, you know. Friends Kneecap are over there. You know, we're not going to say anything too crazy. They were sort of joking around, like, you know, playing footsie with it for a bit. And then they got to a point where, obviously, I showed the clip earlier. I'm sure plenty of people saw the clip. Big Bob, the main guy of Bob Vylan, got up and started chanting, D to the IDF. Now, I don't have a problem with this, because that's a foreign military. It's not like a serious incitement. It's a chant. It's like kind of metaphor to it. It's like, it's just not a big deal. It's like that should be absolutely protected under free speech. Like, there is, and it's like the sort of thing that I would expect an artist to do. Like, it's a political statement. It's like, whatever. It's the idea that people are upset about that super hard is a little crazy to me. But there is a second thing that is even more crazy to be upset about. which is they did a performance of their song. I guess I'll show like a brief bit of the song quickly, just to give you the idea. People are upset about the performance of this song. Okay, so you get the idea. He says this a lot of times in the song. Obviously saying, "Heard you want your country back, fuck off," and he says that a bunch of times. And the idea that anyone's upset about this is pretty ridiculous to me, unless you're like literally retarded. The obvious point of this guy was born in the UK. He was born in this country. There are people asking for their country back, meaning wanting people like him gone. And he's saying, "Oh no, fuck you. This is the only country I've ever known." That's the obvious message here. It's the obvious point. It's an anti like mass deportation, anti like giga anti-immigration like reform whatever narrative. That's the point. That is the point. However, thank you for the $5. Huge appreciate. However, a bunch of just totally retarded gammons are freaking the fuck out, being like, "This guy's chanting for race war. This guy." I saw Drew Pavlo saying this, that he's chanting for race war. It's pretty absurd, and the idea anyone is upset over this is like honestly so pathetic. It's so pathetic. So we're gonna take a look. There's a new Sargon video about this. We're gonna watch this. Oh well, there's 2 Sargon videos, I guess. Awesome. Sorry, there's like 4 Sargon videos. There's like 4 Sargon videos about this. Okay. This needed 4 videos. I'm sure. I grew up, you know, as a teenager watching Sargon. I remember being like 16 and watching Sargon. I remember Sargon standing firm for free speech. I remember Sargon being what he called a classical liberal. You know, we should have maximum free speech, maximum individual liberties, as long as it doesn't infringe other people's and helps, and we still allow society to function by collecting the necessary tax revenue, etc. Sort of, that was the mindset. That's what I remember of Sargon. So surely, when I watch this, many of those principles are going to be repeated. Many of those principles are going to be repeated here. I'm sure.
Before we start this video, I want to remind you, no fucking Fed posting. Do you understand me?
Oh wow, great when you have to start a video like this, isn't it? Thank you for the 20 Danish krona. Huge appreciated, Miradol. Thank you.
Oh, we have to go and do X, Y, and Z. No. We are just calm, impartial witnesses to the things that are happening in my country. Do you understand? Trust me, we are doing things in the background. We are moving political pieces across the board. But for now, we're just going to remind ourselves as to why we're moving in the directions that we're moving.
Sargon's a big mover and shaker, guys.
So this weekend is
the guy who sank UKIP. Big mover and shaker. Sorry, Sargon. Cole, can you just tell me exactly what you meant when you said that thing about you wouldn't even what? Jess Phillips, Mr. Benjamin?
Glastonbury Festival in Glastonbury in England, and it is, as Chris points out, the whitest thing Jon Snow has ever seen. It's an incredibly bourgeois music festival that attracts, well, almost an entirely white clientele, white English bourgeois clientele.
Very true.
They are so fucking insufferable.
That's
you
true.
Just wouldn't believe it.
These are the easy points. These are the easy points. Yes, Glastonbury is full of a bunch of insufferable white leftists. Yes, a bunch of insufferable champagne socialists. A bunch of insufferable A-level students. Yes, not A-level students. What am I saying? A-level uni students. Yes. I was thinking of James O'Brien calling himself A-level politics, and his mindset A-level politics. Obviously, that is what I'm trying to draw on. Basically, is it's a lot of the very, you know, what would you call it? Like rose tinted lefty types, or it's like, guys, woke's a good term. Fuck it, man. I don't like the term woke people. It's like that. It's a lot of that.
The standard woke lefty nonsense, right?
Yeah, there we go.
I don't see any borders, do you? With a picture of the Earth? Well, I mean, if you don't draw any borders on, sure. I mean, is the Great Wall of China visible from space? But I mean, that's around the other side, so we'll skip that. But I can't help but notice that it's on a fence. And this is a hypocrisy that they've been repeating for many, many years. In 2017, Jeremy Corbyn spoke there, and this is what he had to say.
If you can see that far, look on the wall right over
there.
Okay,
so unlike the last person I watched cover this, the stupid bint I watched cover this in the last segment about this, Sargon does actually state that this is from like 8 years ago. So Sargon clearly remembers this one from his old coverage, pulling this one out of the back pocket. And had this one in the back pocket, up the sleeve, for a special occasion. I remember that time 8 years ago where Jeremy Corbyn, that fucking idiot, said a bunch of stupid shit about how Glastonbury's got a wall around it. They build bridges, not walls, or something like that. Wow, yeah, wasn't that stupid? Thanks, Sargon. Thanks, man. Yeah, that was really dumb 8 years ago when it happened. I agree with the former Labour leader, who no one likes and no one supports.
That surrounds this wonderful festival. And there's a message on that wall for President Donald Trump. And you know what it says? Build bridges, not walls.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. The sheer galaxy brain of the Glastonbury Festival. And everyone just happens to be pointing this out. It's like, well, hang on a second. Got a bunch of rich kids who have turned up to a festival that's walled in like you would never believe.
I don't want to watch the 8 years ago coverage. I want the stuff from this year, please.
Actually talk about the politics of Glastonbury, because it's pretty radical, right? It's so far to the left that...
Okay, this is total cope. This is cope. The politics of Glastonbury aren't so far to the left. They do have... Artists tend to lean left. Big artists especially tend to lean left. So yes, they have a lot of lefty artists. However, they also had Rod Stewart, who was coming out in support of Farage just before. And he was initially, my understanding is, he was initially offered either a 45-minute or a 60-minute set and negotiated up to either a 60-minute or a 90-minute set. So they actually gave Rod Stewart a longer set than he was initially offered, despite him being a Reform supporter. Now, Rod Stewart's set was obviously... It didn't quite get attention for the same reason as Kneecap and Bob Vylan sets. I'll show you sort of like what Rod Stewart's set was like, quickly. Oh, great. Awesome stuff happening over on the Rod Stewart performance with the Reform side of music, with the Reform side of the arts and entertainment industry. Awesome. Great stuff happening.
That it actually...
God, why... Guys, it's so... why are all the festivals so left-leaning? Right-leaning artists.
Seems to genuinely be bordering on incitement to terrorism at this point. It's hard to see how much further to the left they can actually go, actually. So they've got Kneecap playing. Kneecap, you'll remember, they're just being censored by the British state. I mean, they were openly praising Hamas and Hezbollah, right? One of them is currently on terrorism charges. And so...
Yeah, but Sargon, as someone that supports free speech, you know, saying that you support a terrorist group shouldn't be that big of an issue, right? Ultimately, that's the sort of thing, you probably should allow. You probably should allow under free speech. Just saying you support them. Saying you support an action they took. As long as you don't try to recruit people or provide material support, just saying you support them should be fine. You would think, right?
It's not going to be broadcast on the BBC because he will probably get convicted for this because he, at a gig in Kentish Town, was flying the Hamas flag. Oh, no, sorry, the Hezbollah flag. Hezbollah being a proscribed terrorist group because they're terrorists. And he was like, no, here's their flag. I'm waving this because...
Never make me listen to a Rod Stewart set, live set in 2025 again, you vile rat. Okay, Dave.
I think they're amazing. And he was reading a book as well. There's a picture of him, like, proudly reading this book, you know, brandishing it for the camera of a Hezbollah terrorist leader of some sort. And it's like, right, so he's probably going to get charged with this, right? I mean, it's kind of hard to see how he's not giving support to a prescribed terrorist group when he gets on stage, flies their flag, and says that they're brilliant. And so, like, oh yeah, well, the BBC won't play our set. It's like, well, yeah, I'm not too surprised. I am surprised that they're even allowed to have people who are potential terrorists at the event. I mean, Keir Starmer did say, look, you probably shouldn't have these people because they're terrorists. But I guess the Michael Eavis was just like, yeah, well, if you don't...
Okay, he didn't say that, did he? He said it probably wouldn't be appropriate. He didn't say they're terrorists. He didn't say they're terrorists. And even, like, okay, dude, some of Keir's just moves are just so stupid. I am losing faith in this fucking Starmer idiot at this point, just because of all the PR shit. But he didn't actually really say that, and the Labour message has been pretty clear. Where's the Wes Streeting? Wes Streeting was on Sky the other day.
Much better position, not just on the vote on... so, you know, I think there's a serious point there by the Israeli embassy I take seriously. I wish they'd take the violence of their...
Okay, yeah.
The Israeli embassy said last night that when such messages are delivered before tens of thousands of festival goers and met with applause, it raises serious concerns about the normalization of extremist language and the glorification of violence. This was as much about the audience as it was about the performers, wasn't it?
Well, I'd say sort of two things in response to those words from the Israeli embassy. Firstly, I do think that, like, if I take the equivalent of the war in Ukraine, I'm unequivocal about which side of that war I'm on. I want Ukraine to win. Would I be celebrating or chanting for the death of Russian soldiers? No. I want to see an end to the war, and I want to see an end to the conflict. I'd also say to the Israeli embassy, get your own house in order in terms of the conduct of your own citizens and the settlers in the West Bank.
So the Labour line is pretty clear here to me. It's criticism from Israel should be met with, yeah, we understand it might not feel good to see that, but you guys fucking suck. Like, that is the line right now, from what I can see. So Sargon spinning this as like, oh, Keir Starmer totally disavowed them, said they're so fucking terrible. It's like, he said it probably wouldn't be appropriate for him to play at Glastonbury. But the line from Labour is not just like, yeah, they're really terrible to Israel. It's like, okay, yeah, they said some stuff that's probably not cool, but why'd they say it? That's what the response is right now. So yeah.
On politics, you can go somewhere else. So your politics are murdering innocent civilians, which is just remarkable. And there's been another ban. I mean, this is sorry, before we go on, this is what it looked like in preparation for Kneecap's set, apparently. Can't help but notice every flag but a British flag. Like just every...
Is this just the new talking point since the LA, every flag but a British flag? Like, yeah, what are they going to be flying the fucking British flag for? What are they going to be flying the British flag? Oh, I just really like my country. I really like my country. That's not the point of them flying the flags, is it? The point of the Palestine flag is they have a political interest in that particular issue that's happening right now. They're signaling a specific position, right? The point of a Ukraine flag is a specific position in that conflict, that you talk about that conflict in a specific way. It's not the Irish flag. It's probably because Irish people there to support Kneecap, obviously an Irish band, they're showing specific support there because obviously they would not, there's probably not a lot of Irish bands, especially not bands that are singing fucking Gaelic or whatever it is. So it's like there are reasons for these flags being here. Why would there be a British flag? What is anyone going there to talk about Britain for? As it's in Britain, so I really like my country, but that's not very motivating. Like, people might like the country, but there's no specific reason to be motivated about that. Maybe if we were at active war, if someone was attacking us recently or something like that, maybe then we would have British flags flying. But there's not really a political issue or big thing in people's minds that would motivate them to have a British flag. I felt it seems pretty simple. If it was like a big, like, right-wing thing, I'm sure you would all have St. George's crosses. You'd have St. George's crosses, but not because you simply like your country. It would be because you believe in a specific, like, makeup of the government or way the country should be heading, direction the country should be heading in, that is more drawn along ethnic lines, right? That would be the point of you holding the St. George's cross, is that you care about the English, like, ethnicity, and you would be pushing in that specific direction, right? Because it's usually, you don't just hold a flag at a festival for no reason. Usually you've got a specific thing that you're trying to draw attention to.
Every foreign flag you can possibly imagine, obviously nothing patriotic to the West is represented here. And so this is genuinely a kind of crazed gathering of traitors. I'm not trying to over-egg it, but I don't know what else you would say when they're all there waving foreign flags for people who are on terror charges from an event hosted by radical leftists. But the thing is, it gets worse, right? So there's a band called Bob Vylan. Now, interesting how that's a play on Bob Dylan, but interesting, like, yeah, we're villain. It's like, oh, the villains, right? Okay, got it.
What? He is such a boomer, dude. This guy is such a fucking gay boomer now. Holy shit! You know, this monster can has the mark of the beast. It's actually called Monster.
Right, understood. I agree. You're probably also the villains. But this is insane. I can't imagine being part of a political movement that is allowed to chant these kinds of things. Again, look at every foreign flag under the sun.
Wait, bro, wait. I can't imagine being part of a political movement that's allowed to chant these sorts of things. Weren't you pals with like 90% of Charlottesville? Weren't you buddies with like 90% of the people at Charlottesville? What? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Free, 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 free. But have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF. 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 Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine.
That is crazy. I mean,
Whoa.
like Chris is just like, yeah, Glastonbury seems to have become a hate fest. It's like, well, they're platforming probable terrorists. They're chanting death to the IDF.
Guys, it's a hate fest because one performance, one artist chanted for the death of a military organization. Bear in mind, 95% of the shows that were apolitical. Some of the, Rod Stewart was even, slightly right leaning, you could say. I believe there was even some other woman that was doing some retarded shit that made some stupid statement. So the idea that it's a hate fest, just like the anti-Jewish hate fest. Like, you are completely hysterical. You're completely hysterical. It's a bunch of retarded, champagne socialist, woke, white people waving Palestine flags. It's not a hate fest. You're hysterical. You're genuinely hysterical.
That bodes great things for Israel. It's like this is kind of wild. How this is just essentially a kind of pro-terrorism political rally.
Sargon likes his monster as he likes his men.
Thank you for 50 Danish krona. Hugely appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. So, it's a pro-terrorism political rally because they're chanting for the death of a military organization. Okay. Interesting stuff. Totally not the most zogged man alive.
That, 400,000 or however many it is, like middle-class white people are going to go to have their favorite sort of minstrels up on the stage.
Yeah, imagine wishing death on the most moral army in the world. Our greatest ally, Israel. Imagine wishing death on the most moral army in the world.
The politics back at them. Like this, I get the feeling this is a kind of weird catharsis for them because really, it's the middle class white people who make the system what it is. Like, all of these, like, all of these sort of like minority groups and all the client identities that they're so concerned about.
Okay, here's the thing: you can't, right? So you can either do the criticism where you say this is commodified virtue signaling bullshit, where a bunch of champagne socialists are just jerking them off to a essentially consumerist product where they've just gone to a festival to signal this issue and then they go home, forget about it, and vote the same way they were going to and never show up to protest and whatever, You either can take that position or you can take this is really scary, radical, revolutionist, evil, scary black people, okay? You get to take one of those two positions. You can't take both. You can't do both. You can't do they're really weak and unthreatening and they're really strong and threatening. You can't mix both of those two. That's really embarrassing for you to do.
Are all maintained and upheld by the straight white people who are cathartically like, yeah, death to the IDF. Like, so this is just, down with Britain, all this other stuff they do. It's like, it's so weird how they essentially have to kind of morally purge themselves by doing this. And every year they have, like, lots of ethnic bands, but there's no ethnic people in the crowds. Absolutely wild. This guy, like, this is a great story from him because, I mean, look, I'm not here to point the finger about who is and who isn't anti-Semitic.
Guys, groundbreaking news. White people like black people music. I know. I should have made sure you were seated before I told you that.
But this is a hilarious story because the thing is, the left can't bring itself to be openly anti-Semitic, right? It is against quote-unquote racism in all forms, and so they have to kind of dance around what they're actually trying to say and use euphemisms like Zionist. Listen to this. This, again, if this was a right-wing festival, just Jesus Christ.
One of the jobs that I did, I worked for a record label, and it's funny because when I worked there, the boss of the record label, we would talk every so often, and he would speak very strongly about his support for Israel.
God, that's such a subtle nod to the ethnicity of his boss at the record label, isn't it?
Dude, it's not a subtle nod to the ethnicity. Yes, from him saying that, you can guess, record label boss, he supports Israel, probably Jewish. Yes, from that, you can interpret that he might be Jewish. But it's not a nod at the ethnicity. It's a political position that he disagrees with. It's so like, yeah, if I said something like I used to work at what would be a good example? I used to work at a kebab shop, and my boss would talk enthusiastically about his What should we say here? Like, what stereotype are we going with here? He's talking enthusiastically about his hatred of He's talking enthusiastically about how far feminism had gone. Okay, I used to work for a kebab shop, and he talked about how this modern feminism had gone too far, and all these women are showing too much skin these days. It's like from that, okay, kebab shop. And your bosses talk about how women show too much skin these days. Might be Arabic. There's a chance we can start guessing. We can start guessing about ethnicity there. But is it necessary? No. It's just reasonably interpreted. And there's not really a way for me to communicate that without you interpreting that there's a good chance, there's higher than average chance of the ethnicity of my previous boss. But that doesn't mean you can't tell the story, that you're racist for telling the story, right? This is like such a ridiculous standard set that you would be like, I don't think any woke person would say this stuff, that you would be racist for telling this story. It's like totally ridiculous.
It's like, my goodness, I can't believe that he would. Oh, he's being so clever.
Treading on that line, do you know what I mean? He was treading on that line. And then this letter, or this list of names came out recently of people trying to stop our mate's Kneecap from performing here today. And who do I see on that fucking list of names but that bald-headed cunt I used to fucking work for? We've done it all.
Waffle House customers started a fight. Okay, dude, let's...
All right? From working in bars to working for fucking Zionists. And if we can do this, I promise you, lot, you can do absolutely anything that...
Honestly, how do you get away with that sort of thing? Well, I'll tell you how you get away with that sort of thing. So I looked up Bob Vylan, and this is just the first... I looked him up on YouTube, 21,000 subscribers, like, nobody knows who they are. And this is the first video I clicked on. It's called He's a Man, and it's just him shitting on straight white Englishmen through the wokest lens possible. He's a racist misogynist.
Okay. I agree that is a woke song, but it's not just... It's not just all straight white men, is it? Wait, that's true. Why is he mocking that? That's true.
Like, white privileged, patriarchal, but essentially loser. So as you can see, the guy's just portrayed like a disgusting, slobbish loser. So it's just like, right, so it's just, I hate English men.
It's not like being the one. You're trying very hard.
About how it's stolen your country, and you're not going to get it back. This is from their set, and I'm just...
Dude, it's not about how they've stolen your country and you're not going to get it back. You didn't steal anything, dude. Oh my god, this is like the lowest IQ engagement. Oh my god. How are you stealing something when you were born in a place? He was born in the UK. The point of several of his songs is, hey, I didn't really choose to be born here, so telling me to go back to where I came from is kind of like, I can't really. I don't know anywhere else. It's like a very common point.
People, doctor, and what hospital, and what media I went to. We know I can't say that. It was a Jewish doctor.
Thank you for the 50 Danish kroner. Huge appreciate, thank you. It's not, I've stolen your country, you can't have it back. It's, bro, this is my country too. That's the point, right? What are you taking back? I didn't take it from you. I was just fucking born here. That's the point.
Be warned, this is going to piss you off.
He's having to deprive his audience too. Guys, trigger warning. Wait, dude, we've horseshoed round. Sargon's doing trigger warnings. Sargon's doing trigger warning. Let's go. We have reached the fucking tip of the horseshoe. Let's fucking go. We're there. We're there. The very tip of the horseshoe. Huge things happening. Huge new developments. Oh my god. Huge new developments in Sargon content. Trigger warning. He's going to say here that white people aren't going to be able to take their country back. Trigger warning, guys. I know you want it back so bad.
Also going to sing and brag about how I've stolen your country and you're not going to get it back. This is from their set, and I'm just, be warned, this is going to piss you off.
I want your country back. Ha, shut the fuck up. I want your country back. You can't have that. I want your country back. Ha, shut the fuck up.
Dude, look at the disapproving face. Oh my god, look at his disapproving face. Dude, Sargon content is comedy, man. I actually can't. Holy fuck.
Okay, I think that's enough of that. But you see the point. They know exactly what they're doing, and they have a free hand in doing it here. And like I said at the beginning, no Fed posting, keep your shit in check. This is for your information. You need to know these things. You need to know these are the opinions they have about you. They think that they are stealing from you because look at the sign behind it.
Literally not what he was saying.
Country was built on the backs of immigrants. Everything about the entire festival is predicated on the most pure form of the woke narrative, which means they hate you and everything.
It's not the whole point of the entire festival. It's obviously a lot of his music is like that. Yes, he's a very lefty guy. Very obviously a very lefty guy. They choose their background. That's set up by the band. It's like that's all part of their performance, right? Okay. So that's the first one of the 4 videos Sargon's made on this topic.
I was thinking about today's events at Glastonbury, and actually, I'm feeling kind of good about them. Right?
So he came back a couple of hours later, same shirt, comes back a couple of hours later. I've not been able to get this out of my head, guys. Guys, I've not been able to get this out of my head.
Because we know that the people who are performing there, the people who are going there, and the people they support, they use as their little client groups, are, well, just dead set against us. They hate the British people, they hate the native nations of the country, and they want to see you genuinely as a second-class citizen. And it's nice to have them just come out and say it, right? It's really, really useful. And so it's not that we don't know that's there. It's good that the mask is off, and it's good that we're just being shown the unvarnished truth, especially given how many people are watching this. I mean, this is the most mild of it. And really, there are basically 2 narratives that have come out of this. But this is the most mild of it, which is just them chanting, fuck Keir Starmer. So, yeah, okay, well, obviously they're going to do that. Keir Starmer's basically branded them as terrorists. One of them was going to court on terrorism charges for supporting Hamas. And Starmer was like, look, you shouldn't be playing them, and the BBC refused to broadcast them. So there's that. But then you had the Bob Vylan playing afterwards, which was the real, like, really overshadowed Kneecap. So I guess they're not really... Bit of a yesterday's men already. And what's really funny is the Avon and Somerset police are like, oh, actually, we've been paying attention to this. Oh, have you really? We're aware of comments made by acts at the West Holt stage of Glastonbury Festival. Video evidence will be assessed by officers to determine whether any offences may have been committed.
What are you crying about?
People's death is completely normal at Glastonbury. I'm actually sure that's the only thing that could be considered criminal that Vylan had said. It will.
I do not think that saying death to the IDF is criminal. I do not believe that to be criminal. I would like to see some similar case that's been prosecuted that shows that to be criminal. Saying death to a military organization, I would be shocked if that's ever been prosecuted, me personally. I understand your friend Sargon, your friend Count Dankula, did get prosecuted for speech, but he didn't say that, did he? He said G the J's. He said G the J's. So, I understand there might be a sort of similar case, but I feel like we might be able to identify a couple of key differences in these cases that may lead to one being prosecuted and the other not. Not that I support Count Dankula's prosecution, obviously. But let's be serious. I don't think generally people have been prosecuted for saying like death to a military organization. I don't think that happens very often. I would be surprised if we could find me a single case of that. I know everyone likes to pretend the UK is totally unfair when it comes to speech. And I do have huge issues with the way UK enforces speech. However, I don't believe it's along the ideological lines that people claim. Obviously, we had someone yesterday, total retard yesterday, claim to me, oh, Lucy Connolly just got jailed for tweets. And it's like, yeah, tweets where she incited people to go burn down a hotel that they went and burnt down. Yeah, where she should go burn down an asylum seeker hotel, and then they did it. And then they went and did it. Yeah, I know. I don't necessarily know if I agree with that, if there wasn't a specific date, time, and place, and all that sort of thing. The prosecution, I mean. But it's not just tweets, is it? It's not just tweets. It was incitement. So while I would like a firmer, like, First Amendment style protection for speech in the UK, I don't think it is the way people pretend it is, where there's like this hardline ideological enforcement. I haven't seen that substantiated ever. So...
will not be the you're not getting your country back, shut up, that will be criminal. That, I mean, honestly, you could consider that to be hate speech, but that's absolutely not going to be a criminal act. It'll be the we've insulted Israel. It'll be the criminal act. It's like, okay, great. But there's just another side thing here that I think is really interesting, how the police have basically become the fun police, right? Because what I think of the acts on the...
Yeah, I think hate speech laws are generally bad. I don't like hate speech laws. I think like incitement, I think stuff like incitement to racial violence, stuff like that, sort of crimes like that are good charges. Like, that's more specific, right? It's not just like saying something racist about black people, I don't think should be a crime. But saying we should all go and do X violent act to Y group of people, like that sort of thing, I think probably should be prosecutable, if you know what I mean, right? It's like there's a bit of a difference between those two things, though.
Stage aside, from their point of view, and from the point of view of the punters...
Yeah, no, I totally disagree with Holocaust denial laws. Yeah, you should be able to deny the Holocaust, obviously. I don't like the denial. I'm not a big fan of the denier framing of almost any event, to be honest. I feel like it is sort of a thought-terminating cliche to call people like Holocaust deniers or rape deniers or whatever it is, just sort of like...
Point of view of the organisers, they view this as legitimate political activism, and they view this as a festival. So it's a political festival they've got together to have fun and do things that they think are appropriate, right? This means that the police are basically the fun police throughout all of this. And this is why Kneecap have been doing, not well, but like they've been gaining credibility on the left because they're like, oh yeah, we're against the establishment. And in some ways they are against the establishment. I mean, they were actively supporting terrorism, which obviously the establishment is against. but morally, as in the things they are arguing for, the establishment is 100% behind.
People who deny the moon landing and Holocaust are dumb. I would agree that they're dumb if you know, personally, I agree with official narratives, okay? But I don't think that framing everyone who doesn't or anyone that, you know, interrogates it as immediately being a denier is good. And I think I saw that most with, like, the October 7th stuff, to be honest. There's a lot of, like, that goes around. It's like, this is a very contentious, recent conflict where a great deal of historical literature shit does not exist. We have not sat there and hashed out exactly every single aspect of this. But, like, when someone has questions or doubts about an official story, just jump to going, you're denying, this is, like, the lowest form of engagement. It's like, it just doesn't convince anyone. It doesn't convince anyone more than anything.
Their rebellion is basically regime-approved rebellion. As in, they are ultra-progressives. Keir Starmer is an ultra-progressive, and something not progressive is happening between Israel and Palestine. So Keir Starmer's like, well, look, man, you know, my wife and kids are Jewish, I'm an ultra-progressive, but I can't stop Israel from doing what they're doing to Palestine. But I also can't have you being anti-Semitic and
it does convince total NPCs, but we're trying not to have those around here, okay?
Ultra-progressive, but I can't stop Israel from doing what they're doing to Palestine. But I also can't have you being anti-Semitic and hating Jews. So what am I going to do, right? And so Keir Starmer is just having the ante upped by these people. Because I'm sure in his heart of hearts, he thinks that what's happening to the Palestinians is awful, right? Because it is, really. Anyway, moving on. The point being,
Just a little aside. It is really. It is really. I'm sure he thinks what's happening to Palestinians is awful, because it is really. A little aside.
Police being like, okay, now we're watching you having fun, and we're going to wag our fingers. It's like, well, that's not going to be very persuasive to many people, and it just helps people like Kneecap. But the thing that is the important part of this is that there are two narratives, right? There's the anti-Israel narrative.
Fighting the Zogbot programming, just like fighting it. I'm surprised Sargon will even give that much ground, because I know that a lot of the right-wing guys in the UK are super, like, they all flipped super hard. When Tommy Robinson started being pro-Israel, all the far-right people in the UK went super pro-Israel. Or I don't know if he always was, but he was more vocal about it. Everyone started going more pro-Israel, because they realized that if you support Israel, you own the Muslims. So they all started going super pro-Israel. So I'm surprised Sargon even gives that much.
Anti-British narrative, and it is the anti-British narrative that really matters. Now, the anti-Israel narrative, like I said, is the one that's going to be illegal, but the anti-Israel narrative is not really that shocking. Like, saying death to an enemy army, okay, you shouldn't be doing that, but it's not the sort of level of immoral that, like, if you were saying death to the Russian army, well, yeah, we're opposed to the Russian army. Why wouldn't we say that? If the Russians were saying death to the Ukrainian army, well, yeah, they're fighting the Ukrainian army right now. So, for someone who supports Palestine to be like, death to the Israeli army, okay, I mean, I don't care. I don't care. I've got no dog in the fight. But the point is, that isn't really that bad on a moral level, because he views his faction, his side, being engaged in a war with Israel. But it's this bit where he says, you're not getting your country back. And as you can see on the side.
Okay, literally. So he's acting... So, again, he didn't just say that. Is one of their songs, first of all. So that was a performance of one of their songs, right? So it's not just saying that, first of all. But... again, the song is not about, we're stealing your country, get out. The song is, you're telling me to get out. I was born here. I don't know anywhere else. That's what it is. It's not, we're stealing this from you. Enjoy getting raped and murdered. That's not what he's saying in the song. That's not what's happening at all. It's like really not controversial, the message here, is it at all? Just really not controversial whatsoever.
And the country was built on the backs of immigrants. You're not getting your country back, shut up. That's the thing that is genuinely going to start radicalizing people. Because that is what I've been talking about in the past couple of weeks, where I've been talking about the jurisdiction of the British people of Britain. And this is what Eva Powell was talking about. He said that the black man will have the whip hand over the white. And here we have, on a stage, a guy who's half black at least, saying, you're not getting your country back, shut up.
Not full black, though, is
You
he?
are going to be a second-class citizen in your own country, And that's the way things are going to be, because all of the power structures around me,
Important
including
to point that out. Not full black though, is he?
Keir
Very
Starmer, who
important,
we're also telling to get fucked, agrees that you should be a second-class citizen and that you should, in fact, be dispossessed of your own native land. What exactly is there stopping Israelis from posting his song, this clip, under every person who says "Free Palestine"? They just be like, "No, fuck you, you're not getting your land, you're not getting your country back. Fuck you, you're not getting your country back." Like when it comes to an indigenous
that is one funny thing. Okay, I will say, I'll give Sargon this one point. Okay, there is something funny if you are just like doing the most 2D analysis ever. There is something funny to the contradiction between Bob Vylan on one stage going, "Heard you want your country back, fuck off," and then Kneecap on the other stage being like, "Give us Ireland back." So that is funny. That is a little bit funny. Now obviously you have to do quite a 2D analysis to do this, but it is humorous. Okay, I did chuckle to myself thinking about that.
population in the Middle East, oh, he absolutely wants to free Palestine, as you can tell by the Palestinian flag. But when it comes to the indigenous people in this country, he's more than happy to oppress them. Right? He's more than happy to be their oppressor. So it's not about justice, it's about who has the whip hand. And that's good to know. And everyone can instinctively see this. It's like, this is an inappropriate thing to say at best, and a downright cruel thing to say at worst. And to have written a song about it, and to be singing a song, which is it sounded like a weak Rage Against the Machine knockoff to me. But very interesting how it's gone from "fuck you, I won't do what you tell me" to "fuck you, you're not getting your country back." Right? And that's very, very interesting. And we can see another thing as well. This is a step up in the rhetoric, right? The rhetoric before was always like, fuck Keir Starmer.
It's not a step up in the rhetoric. This is a song from fucking 4 years ago, bro. It's from fucking February 2021. It's not a step up, bro. This is 4 years old.
Defund the police and a bunch of other sort of, things that are attacking the system rather than the people, right? And so this is kind of a new level of ethnic hatred that's just open and on display, and outright just real hostility to the average British person. And the thing is, as I showed in the last video, this guy makes videos just hating the average British person, the average Englishman. So it's very interesting how this guy has been elevated up. And there's no way that the progressive left are going to not back this guy, right? Because what he represents is the latest sort of incursion on the front. You've got the two lines, the right and the left, fight each other. And this guy is leading a charge against the right. And the left will back him and go as far as they can. And that's good, because honestly, they may find themselves completely encircled in some sort of Cannae movement. But the point is, this is a new level of hatred that we're seeing.
Dude, the way it is just like this. I feel like I see this in Connor as well sometimes. This is the Warhammerification of politics that happens in the overweight 35-year-old bearded man's mind, where it's like, yeah, the strategy, their squad is going to be encircled and trapped in cannon fire because of their support of Bob Vylan. Like, dude, you want to shut the fuck up? What are you talking about, dude?
With such a public profile. Like, there's probably something like 500,000 people watching him live. It's being broadcast on the BBC, and everyone is now talking about it. It's like, oh, right, so this is what we're being presented with. It's like, yes, this is what we're being presented with. These are their authentic feelings towards us, the British. Why are they here again? And so, as you can see, like, just regular people. I mean, Adam Williams is part of the Social Democratic Party. So it's not like he's a radical right-winger or something. But even then, he's like, right, okay, this hate of Britain, our heritage and history has no place here. And he's right. Obviously, it's got no place here. And what this is not the sort of soft leftism of the 2000s. So you can look at someone like Dominic Diamond, who has posted about this. Dominic Diamond, for anyone who doesn't know, is an old-school radio DJ from the 90s and the early 2000s. And so he was famous and popular during the sort of Tony Blair era of politics. Cool Britannia and the sort of self-confidence that Britain had going into the 21st century. With a kind of, again, moral unity, where everyone was flying the British flag. I mean, you never saw someone flying a non-British flag anywhere. And he is clearly, like, he's not like not a radical right-winger, but he's looking at this and going, oh, right, okay, diversity isn't actually our strength then, right? So, like, I mean, he says here, watching Pulp at Glastonbury and feeling sorry for anyone who wasn't there for the 90s. What a time, my God, we were so blessed with culture. We were much happier and we all got on so better. And it's like, yes. And then we decided to get really progressive and really diverse because of the Labour Party, because of what happened during the late 90s through the 2000s. And how did that work out, Dominic? Well, we currently have some non-white guy on a stage screaming how you're not getting your country back and shut up and rubbing it in our faces. This is probably not what you were asking for when originally you became, a progressive Labour voter, but this is what we've got.
Dude,
so we have
why would you care about this? Why would anyone care about it? Dude, progressive Labour voters are not the ones saying, I want my country back. Why would they care? Why would a progressive Labour voter give a fuck?
Deal with the reality. And like I said, this is going to be one of those sort of watershed moments for lots of people where they're just looking at this going, right, okay,
so true.
This was a bit too much, wasn't it?
So true.
The important thing here is to note who came out for the important narrative and the unimportant narrative. So on the unimportant narrative side, we have Kemi Bates.
Okay, wait. No, Sargon's cooking. No, Sargon's cooking. Wait, no, he's cooking. This is so true. You can identify the two types of right-wingers by which part they're upset about. No, he's cooking like crazy. It's either, are they upset about, heard you want your country back, fuck off, or are they upset about death to the IDF? Which one are they more upset about? And then you'll find out whose side they're on. So true, Sargon. So true. Let's go. Let's cook.
Badenoch. She's got a complete tin ear for politics. This is grotesque. Glorifying violence against Jews isn't edgy. The West is playing with fire if we allow this sort of behaviour to go unchecked. As if protecting the IDF from mean rhetoric in Britain is actually the important thing here. I mean, it's not just violence against Jews, it's an army, right?
Let's
so
go.
Different standards apply, even though I agree it is shocking and they shouldn't have done it. This isn't really the story, is it? And what's very interesting is that Nigel Farage didn't...
No, the story isn't this uncontroversial statement. It's actually the uncontroversial song from 4 years ago. Okay, thank you, Sargon, for telling us which kind of right-wing you are.
And what's very interesting is that Nigel Farage didn't leap on the centre-right hand grenade and go, no, I will protect Israel with my life. Nigel Farage retweeted Patrick Christie's saying, quote, if you vote reform, you can have your country back from these lunatics. That's actually really good. That's a really, really solid line. And he's just sidestepped the Israel issue because not really about the Israel issue, is it? What it's about is that our country is full of lunatics and we need to have the moral jurisdiction over the country and we have to take that back from them. Impressive, actually, to see Farage come out on the right side of this issue. He could quite easily have come out on the wrong side of this issue, the Kemi Badenoch side of this issue, but he didn't, and that is to his credit. And like I said, right, we just need them to keep saying these things, right? Like Ismail here saying, cry more.
So wait. If you vote reform, you can have your country back from these lunatics. Well, I mean, I guess that you could argue that he's saying, like, from leftists, from the or something like that. I don't know, man. But yeah, obviously he's not. You know, Nigel Farage said he's not for mass deportations. He said he's not doing mass deportations on denaturalization or any shit like that, right? That that's not Farage's plan. So unless he's saying all of a sudden he's going to start deporting people that are born in the UK, tweet doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but oh well.
And like I said, right, we just need them to keep saying these things, right? Like Ismail here saying, cry more. It's our country now. We just need them to keep saying these things. And I genuinely think that Bob Vylan here will have actually done everyone a service.
Oh no, someone's fucking with you on Twitter.
By standing up and screaming, F you, it's our country now. Shut up, you're not having it back. That, I mean, to do that on such a large platform, with such a huge amount of reach behind it, is, I mean, that's so advantageous to us, right? That's such a good thing for us. Like, we need this rammed down the throat of every person in Britain.
Yeah, if like anyone other than the gayest losers on the face of planet Earth cared, then maybe it would be.
So even the wet moderates are like, what did he say? Are we all, do we all agree with that, do we? Oh, I didn't realize where this was going. So, like I said, basically what we want is for them to just
don't tell this guy about Immortal
make sure
Technique.
everyone you know has seen this.
Don't let Sargon find out about Immortal Technique, okay? He'll have a fucking... He should know about Immortal Technique, because Milo's favourite song is Obnoxious by Immortal Technique, and he always used to say that. And Sargon was like in a gay relationship with Milo, essentially. Essentially, in like a hypothetical sense, in like a metaphorical sense, he was in a gay relationship with Milo. So he should know that about Milo, that Milo's favourite song is Obnoxious by Immortal Technique. Are we watching the full quadrilogy? I don't know if we can do the full quadrilogy. Maybe we just skip to the last video.
There's an awful lot of chatter about this Bob Vylan guy, and honestly, it is useful. But only if we have the conversation go in the right direction. If we have it go in the wrong direction, then it only further serves to cement the narrative of the centre-right, and frankly, in their continual betrayal of our country. So, Leo here is summarising the abstract, esoteric right-wing critique of Bob Vylan and his position at Glastonbury.
Okay,
really controversial. And frankly, I mean, like, even if it was, if he was just...
Okay, I think this is just more of the same at the end of that video. I think he's just saying...
As Morgoth pointed out...
Look, this right-winger cared about the Israel thing, but this right-winger cared about the right thing. This right-winger cared about Israel, though. I think that's it. I think that the discourse has reached its limit on this.